In our first story, brace yourself for more power outages, and this is according to the GridCo, as it announced that there will be more power outages in Accra and Winneba up until the very end of July at least, due to the current ongoing works on infrastructure in some parts of the country. According to the Director of System Operations at GridCo, Mark Ewaba, these outlined construction works on the Pokwase and Kaswa substations would be completed by July and the recent intermittent power outages would cease. He explained that due to the current construction, some of the contractors' requests for irregular power outages leading to unscheduled power outages.
Currently, we are constructing the Pokwase substation, the Kaswa substation. These two substations are being funded under the Millennium Challenge Compact Tube projects. So Midday is managing that funding for us. So you have Pokwase and Kaswa. And then we have projects that are being funded by AFD, Agence Française de Développement, and they are financing major transmission line projects from Tema to Accra and to Malam. We believe that by June, July, when all these projects are being completed, Ghanaians will now enjoy reliable power. But in order for them to be completed, the contractors on these projects have requested for outages, because as they build, they have to connect it to the current system. So it is just like maybe you've invited an electrician to your house to come and fix some problem, and he comes and says, "Sir, madam, I have to switch off the mains for safe working space. Otherwise somebody could die." And then madam could say that I'm preparing jollof, so I'm going to blend some tomatoes, so give me 30 minutes. It is the same thing in the larger grid. The contractors have asked for outages between now and July in order to complete the projects. We are talking of 330,000 volts. In our house, we have only 240 volts, and that can even kill. So they will be coming to us to request these outages. And when this happens, we grant them this outage. It means that some of us will have to go off. We are now working with ECG on the quantum of these outages and how long it will take. And we are also discussing with the contractor to, as much as possible, minimize the duration so that we will have the minimum impact of outages on customers.
Mark Barr also explained that the systems of GridCo in Accra are overloaded.
During the evenings, peak hours, when the voltages are so low, sometimes we've resorted to taking off some feeders, particularly in Kumasi, in order to prop up the voltages. So you will have Kumasi continue to experience this outage situation. So we've noted that inherent problem, and there was a partial solution to it, whereby we moved one transformer from Accra to Kumasi. I'm saying partial because that is not the entire solution. There are also bottlenecks within the network in Greater Accra region, where our substations get overloaded. So once in a while, you see overloads and then interruptions. Let me also add that these interruptions are not only due to problems within the transmission network. When you are in your homes, as a customer, you are connected to the distribution network. ECG is bringing power to you. ECG is connected to the transmission network because power is coming through GridCo. And GridCo is bringing all the power from the generating companies. So between you in your homes or in your factories and the generating companies, you are actually physically linked. Any break in this link can result in a power outage.
He outlines efforts being put in place to solve the frequent power outages.
These outages are going to affect only Accra, I repeat, only Accra and Winneba. It is not nationwide. Pokuase, the 330 came from Abuaze. We are diverting it to Pokuase. And in order for you to divert it, you have to disconnect the 330 kV network. Otherwise, somebody will burn to death. So that is why it's going to happen. So in Kasua, we are going to connect the existing lines from Cape Coast and Winneba, connect it to the Kasua substation and continue to Accra. In order to do that, you have to take those lines off, and it will affect supply. So that is why we'll be coming to Accraians and Winnebans and say that these are the outages that are going to happen. It will affect you for a duration, and because by the time we will come out, we will know exactly the amounts and the duration. We would want to inform those who will be affected how it will be done so that they can plan their lives.
In Kumasi, Managing Director of ECG in the Ashanti region, Kwame Agyemang-Budu, says recent power outages plaguing the greater Kumasi area will end by December this year. Erastus Asaridonko joins us via Zoom with an update. Now, Erastus, what did Mr. Agyemang-Budu say was the systematic challenge that caused the unstable power supply there since January? Right, we will get that Erastus Asaridonko to address some of the issues that were raised. Of course, he's been speaking to Kwame Agyemang-Budu, who is MD for ECG in the Ashanti region. The background of this basically is that the country has been facing some erratic power supply challenges since the beginning of this year, and it has intensified as of March. On the 7th of March, GRIDCO released a statement that due to a fault in a line from Kumasi to Obuasi, there was the need for a general blackout across the country. On Monday, the Corporate Affairs Manager for GRIDCO let us know that a timetable may be issued, which plan has changed from this news conference issued earlier today. We'll stay with issues of power, though, because residents of Chiriase in the Echumanwabija South District are demanding the area is linked to the national grid in order to help drive growth. They argue the lack of electricity has impeded their children's education and hindered economic development. Kofi Asare visited the community and filed this report.
Dorothy Kia, a 14-year-old girl, is doing her homework in the dark. She and her siblings will revise their notes before going to bed with the aid of this torchlight. For Chiriase GHS Form 3 students, this situation has become routine as BCE approaches.
The torch here is just one, and all the children gather around me to study, but I am ahead of them. This makes me lose concentration when studying.
Since there is only one torchlight in the house, her mother, Amecha, will have to give up her night duties to care for her child.
It is this same torch I use for my chores. If I am not done, she cannot study too.
Dorothy and her mother are two examples of how people of this community are impacted by the lack of electricity. Performance in the basic education certificate examination at Chiriase GHS has been discouraging. In the absence of computers, this is how students are learning the ICT subject. Performance in the subject stands at 51.5% in the last BCE. These students preparing for the upcoming BCE are afraid.
In the exam, we could be asked to draw a mouse, which we have not seen before.
From the drawing, I see computer as just boxes. We need a real computer.
Opoku Bwine is the assistant head teacher.
When you give homework, you expect the student to go home and do it. Here's the case that they don't have the electricity in the house. So how do you expect the child to do the homework? You go and sleep over the book and bring it back to you. We teach the ICT in vain because we only do the theory aspect. So when the electricity is here, we'll be able to have the computers and learn so that we can also compete with those in the cities.
Interestingly, electricity poles have been erected for more than 10 years. 2 years ago, high-tension cable extensions were connected from Midday to other towns with a promise to connect them to the national grid before December 2020.
We were all expectant of electricity when the cables were mounted, but nothing has been done since. We have waited in vain. People were ecstatic when we were informed about the electricity. I even gathered my savings for Christmas to buy a television set, but the electricity never came.
4 other surrounding communities are also in a similar situation, but yet to be connected to the national grid. Unit Committee Chairman Kofi Tewia says the community continues to wait for connectivity.
We were heavily promised of electric connection, which made most of us wire our homes. After the elections, that was it.
The local assembly declined commenting on the plight of the community. Children, like Akuya and her classmates, will continue to struggle to study without electricity until the grid is connected. Furthermore, these communities' night economies will continue to be affected. A report by Kofi Asare.
Let's go back to our earlier story where the managing director of ECG in the Ashanti region, Kwame Agyemang-Budu, has said that recent power outages plaguing the Greater Kumasi area will end by December this year. Erastus has joined us. Erastus, what are those challenges that have caused the unstable power supply? I understand it's been that way since January this year.
Well, we have just been listening to Mr. Kwame Agyemang-Budu, who is the managing director of ECG. Now, he has been talking about what is causing the power outages, especially in Greater Kumasi. And he attributes it to a systemic challenge, and then the low water level in the generation. And he thinks that all this will be resolved by the end of December, and so he's asking customers to bear with them until a solution is found to this problem.
By the end of December, that's a very long time. Erastus, describe for us the power supply situation currently in the Greater Kumasi area.
In fact, this is a concern that even journalists here in the press room are talking about because we are all experiencing it. In fact, it starts, the outages start around 7 p.m. Sometimes it comes on around 12 midnight. Sometimes it goes throughout the night to the following morning. And it comes on a daily basis. And so that is what the question that many of the journalists here have been asking Mr. Budu, that this is a problem. Why don't the ECG come up with the timetable that the affected areas could share so that customers who plan their activities? But he's saying that it's not something that they have control over. The announcement comes from BAWKU, and they will have to intermittently go off. And so it's not something that they can plan and give customers a timetable. So definitely this news, when it goes out to the ordinary person on the street, is going to be a big worry to know that you're going to experience this right through the year to the end of the year.
Now, we understand he also cited an overloaded situation. Bring us up to speed.
Yes, he's talking about the transmission lines that are overloaded, and so they need to decouple Ashanti region from the current supply and create a different supply line which is more effective for the region, and Kumasi to be precise. And so that is what he says BAWKU is working on to migrate Kumasi from the current 1 kV to a 330 kV line that will really help them very much and solve this whole outage problem. But he also adds that the water level in Bui has gone down, and so the power to also sustain us in case this one goes off is not coming, and that contributes to the entire power outage situation in the Kumasi metropolis.
Erastus, thanks for bringing us those updates. Let's get back to the capital, and motorists who use the KPONE barrier on the Accra-Aplau highway are calling on authorities to immediately find a solution to the daily congestion there. Some persons who use the stretch say they sometimes spend close to 2 hours to cover a distance that should ordinarily take them 10 minutes. Maxwell Agbagba was there and reports what he observed.
It's just about 4 p.m. The rush hour has started. It's thick traffic situation here. Many of the people who are using this stretch have been in traffic for hours, and they are calling on authorities to fix the problem here. Let's see if this one will talk to us. Hi, mommy, what's your name?
My name is Rose Darling.
Okay, Rose Darling, how long have you been in traffic?
For almost an hour and a half.
Oh, almost an hour.
Yes.
Okay. What do you want authorities to do about this problem?
I think they should find a way of solving this because it's too much. We stay in traffic for sometimes 3 hours just from, motorway to Pram Junction. 3 hours. It's not fair. Okay. So they should do something about it as soon as possible. Yes, thank you very much.
I mean, for motorists, they are concerned about the situation, but the people who sell here, the hawkers who sell here, also use this as an opportunity to cash in on a bumper-to-bumper traffic situation. Many of them are doing business here, and business is booming for them. They are not really concerned. And I've heard a lot of incredible stories, about the traffic situation here and how traffic can build up for 3 hours. People can spend 3 hours in traffic for, a distance that on a normal day should take them like, let's say, 5 minutes. We've spoken to all the people here, and they seem to know the challenge, they seem to know the problem, but it looks like authorities are not really doing much. How long have you been in traffic?
For the past 1 hour and 35 minutes.
Okay. What do you think authorities should do to fix the problem?
We need road expansion and the traffic at the junction.
A lot of the people I've been speaking to here tell me that the traffic situation here has become terrible, especially because of the many residential homes and residential communities that have sprung up right after the KPONE barrier. So around this time, the rush hour time, you find a lot of people who've closed from work from the central business district heading to their homes. And this creates the traffic situation here. They tell me that it's not just the rush hour, but usually during the day, during the afternoon also, they experience this kind of bumper-to-bumper traffic situation.
Now, residents of 5 communities along the coast in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region took to the streets to protest the delay in completion of the Sea Defence Wall project in their area. Their anger was triggered by Sunday's tidal wave that washed away hundreds of houses and properties in Agaveji, Blekusu, Sarakope, Amutinu and Adina communities. Clad in red and chanting songs, the aggrieved residents blocked the Denu Keta road and prevented the flow of traffic. Fred Kwame Asari reports.
Akuvisala had spent her entire life on the shores of Agaveji. The recent tidal waves in the area washed away her household, which accommodated her 6-member family. She tells me she had never witnessed such a disaster, which had rendered her homeless. We heard a loud noise beneath our building during the night. My husband noticed the sea was removing the foundation of the building. We quickly moved some belongings and our children out. The uniforms and books of our children were drenched. We had to spend the night on the main road. I am sick and can't do anything on my own. I have lost all that I struggled for in this world. About 8 units of housing have been washed away. Comfort Ayobia's situation is no different. About 10 housing units of a household were washed away by the waves. They are compelled to spend the night under these nets while at the mercy of the weather. The sea washed away about 10 housing units. We need help. Lands belonging to 4 of my mother's relatives are now beneath the sea. My father's house, which contained 10 units, was also recently washed away. Hundreds of houses were affected by the tidal waves which swept through Agaveji, Blekusu, Sarakope, Amuchinu and Adina communities sandwiched between the sea and the lagoon. According to NADMO, over 1,000 residents were affected. However, the residents believe an extension of the sea defense wall to their areas would have saved them from the disaster. They took to the streets to register their displeasure over what they described as government's unwillingness to continue the project. Dressed in red, the aggrieved residents blocked the access road linking the Nui to Keta with logs, stones, canoes, and bent ties to prevent the flow of traffic. According to them, they are compelled to occupy the road since it is the only space available in their communities. Sylvester Kumewu is the assembly member for the Amuchinu Sarakope electoral area.
The tidal waves is continuing to destroy our properties. The tidal wave is destroying our houses. It has taken over our land, and the people are left with nothing. They are sleeping by the roadside. And so we are craving the indulgence of the municipal chief executive, the regional minister, and then the president, and all those who have the power to ensure that as soon as possible, the plight of the people of Amuchinu, Salakope, Blekusu, Agaveji, and Adina should be salvaged in time.
The Ketu South Municipal Chief Executive, Elliot Agbenewu, who took a tour of the affected areas, assured the aggrieved residents that the contractor would return to site soon to commence phase 2 of the sea defense project.
I remember in 2017, July, we had a tidal wave challenge. That saw the government to move measures amended back to site, and they've been able to protect the coastal community from Blekusu up to at least part of Agaveji. However, we need to continue with the phase 2 of the project. We've gone far. There's a letter from the Ministry of Works and Housing to the Ministry of Finance. That is the stage we have gotten to now. As far as the Ministry of Finance is giving the clearance, the contractor will return back to site to continue with the sea defense. So I think
the residents are hoping the government would act swiftly to prevent the entire community from being washed away. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Adina.
Now, a man with his wife and 4 children, including a 4-year-old girl, has been rendered homeless after armed men forcibly evicted them and demolished their home at BAWKU in the Upper East region. Tanko Akologo, a private businessman, says he barely escaped death with his family after the assailants attacked his home last Sunday morning. He suspects a private developer with whom he has a dispute over a piece of land was behind the attack. Correspondent Albert Sori has more.
Tanko Akologo is a private businessman based in BAWKU. He says last Sunday morning, a group of men besieged his home at the Gingande suburb of BAWKU, wielding hammers, and chased him out together with his wife and 4 children.
A lot of them were holding hammers, some were holding metal bars, some were holding ping axes. And we attempted to do a video, and one of them shouted that they should take our phones from us. So I had to run to the roadside and I stopped it.
According to Tanko, once he managed to escape with his family from the house, the assailants proceeded to destroy his properties and later pull down the walls of the house.
So they started breaking the house down, and I just quietly pulled my children and my wife out, and we stood there and watched them demolish our house and destroy the house. As we speak, the children are with me in Bolga here because they can't go to school.
My wife and I are no more working, and their colleagues are going to school. These are vulnerable.
He suspects that a private developer with whom he has a land dispute was behind the attack.
I could trace it to a land dispute that has been lingering for some time now, since last year. I secured an injunction, an interlocutory injunction against him, asking him to stop work, and I could continue with my business. To the best of my knowledge, it is the injunction that triggered some form of anger. So they plan with his agents and assigns to be able to come and do this thing to me. So I will not be able to come back to the shop to operate whilst he remains to work there.
Tanko Akologo says he reported the matter to the police, who assisted him to escape with his family from BAWKU to Bolgatanga, where they are currently seeking temporary shelter with a friend.
The matter is currently in the hands of the regional police, and they are investigating it to get the perpetrators. But I'm just appealing to government and civil society to wake up to this fight, because a whole family is suffering, because I don't know what practically I have done to deserve my house being demolished and render me homeless. I've been rendered jobless already, and I've been fighting the matter in court.
Tanko's wife and children are distraught.
Their mother is late. I've come to take custody of these children, including this little girl, and I'm caring for them. This is purely impunity. I am pleading to the public to come to our aid. Right now, you've rendered us jobless. Now you have rendered us homeless. We are just sitting down. How to even feed is a problem. And I'm pregnant. I couldn't even buy medications for myself. I'm sitting idle. Nothing. I can't even feed.
It has affected me. As for now, I'm in the house, but school will resume on 4th. But there is no enough money to send me back to school. So it is going to affect my academics, because I'm going to be in the house until my dad gets some money to send me back to school.
The Upper East Regional Police have confirmed to Joy News that they have received a report of the incident. They say the case is currently under investigation, and details will be revealed once the investigations are advanced. For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daza. Now, there are empty buses at Jomplin Station Circle as Kowo craze has died down due to the COVID-19 restrictions. Many holidaymakers, churches and event organizers have been forced to stay home following the cancellation of activities by the Kowo Traditional Council. Station Master Samuel BAWKU at the Nkoko station at Lenioplin Station explains the situation.
What's going on? You can see the place, no one is coming. Some people have spent 4 days here. They said coronavirus, that's why. And so they are not going to the Easter and so on. Nothing is going on.
So today, since morning, I think it's almost 10 a.m. Yeah, since dawn till now, how many buses have left the station?
Oh, like 4.
Just 4? Usually these people are individuals or they are groups or what?
Oh no, they are individuals.
How do you feel about the situation? I mean, 2 years ago, the story was different.
About 3 years ago, it's nice than the rest. It's good, 3 years ago.
Can you explain what happened then?
Oh, okay, Kwawo and staff, they go. But now they are not going at all. No one is coming.
How has it affected you?
Oh, it affects our business. Our business is not going.
The passengers also say this year's Kowo Easter is definitely missing the excitement factor.
Said we are going to visit our grandma, but we will not eat the Easter. We will not celebrate it.
Where is your grandmother?
She is at Kowo. I felt sad.
Easter.
Now, after Easter, who is saying?
Boring, very, very boring. Me grandpa, me nimpo say Easter.
and that means they also COVID needs near my slow. But me normally, no, they be a walk only there. Make say me waho, but me kobi.
COVID, yeah, na behadwin. Ndi abehadwin pa. The papa said, yeah, you kobi na so nkaya kweni edi bifrem. Nti ye kodista.
Now, Chairman of the Christian Council and moderator of the Methodist Church, Reverend Dr. Paul BAWKU, has advised Ghanaians not to let their guard down during the Easter celebration. Delivering his Easter message, Dr. Paul BAWKU said the empty tomb should give Christians the hope and assurance that we would come out of the pandemic.
Let us go celebrating Easter, not losing guard, but to make sure that we follow strictly the protocols laid down for us for safety. Wearing our mask, observing social distancing, and then using the sanitizers. I know Easter is a time of joy, and we might go out there with the hope of celebrating, but let us not forget that COVID is still with us. The joy of Easter comes as we celebrate the rising of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, from the death. It is the time when we have new hope for our world. As this world emerges from this pandemic that has brought losses, confusion, frustration, fear amongst us, the empty tomb brings us new hope. It brings us new beginnings so we can start afresh as we look forward. In the joy of celebrating Easter, let us continue to nurture the peace that we have enjoyed as a people. Forge ahead as one people, as one community with a common destiny. My appeal to our honorable members of the 8th Parliament that as we join in this celebration, we would always put our nation first and think about the development and the growth of Ghana.
You're live on Joy News today, and business is next with Darryl Kwao.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Beginning today, the 1st of April, the Ghana card is replacing the tax identification number issued by the Ghana Revenue Authority for tax identification purposes. This change is in line with government's policy on the use of a unique identifier for all transactions where the identification of an individual is required. Meanwhile, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Midday Osuamwa, is optimistic the move will improve on revenue collection.
There has been the need for us to see as a tax authority or as a nation how we can increase the number of tax payers, and also to ensure that our revenue base as a nation also increases towards our goal of increasing the revenue to GDP ratio. Now, the starting point for even paying tax is to first to register. And to get more people to register and to get more people on the database, this is an opportunity for us to be able to get those people who have registered for the Ghana card to automatically become registered taxpayers. Number two, it's also for us as a country avoid the situation where you go here and they'll say, what is your tax identification number? And you go to another place, say, what is your Ghana card now? It goes, and so there's the issue of having a united one card for Ghana. And so for us in Ghana Revenue Authority, it's an important step for us because it gives us a huge database where we can now start engaging the people who are registered, and then trying to also now identify how they can comply with tax, and then also to see which tax types they are eligible or they are supposed to pay, and then we'll be able to get the tax type for them. So what we have done today, because as you are aware, the starting date is on the 1st of April. So we have made sure that the offices are ready, and 14 of the offices are ready, and we have already set them up. And so what you saw today is the NIA team who are co-locating with us and are working together with us. So they will do the process, and then by the time the process comes to an end, it automatically feeds into our system to ensure that your Ghana card will also become your TIN.
Now, the University of Ghana Business School and its partners, including Improving Financial Awareness and Financial Movement in Ghana, have launched the commemoration of April as Financial Literacy Month. This is to raise awareness about the importance of financial literacy education and empower individuals to make informed and effective financial decisions. There's more in this report. Speaking at the launch to dedicate the month of April as Financial Literacy and Awareness Creation, Head of Financial Stability at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Joseph Franz, said the high rate of financial illiteracy in Ghana largely contributes to the increased number of financial fraud cases in the country.
The general literacy rate of the country, as per a UNESCO report on literacy of adult population in emerging countries, which showed an increase from 71.5% in 2010 to 79.04% in 2018, has unfortunately not translated into the improvement of the financial literacy rate in Ghana. Engaging Joy Business on the sidelines of the launch, Dean of the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Justice Bawule, indicated that the lack of financial literacy contributes to the high percentage of non-performing loans. However, Professor Bawule believes intensifying education on financial awareness is the way to go.
And so if we're going for a loan to do business and you are being offered 30% or more as the interest rate, what it means is that you are going to fail. But of course, the financial institution that is giving you the money is looking to collect their interest and move on. So that leads to a lot more non-performing loans that we are unable to recover. And gradually, that has meant that several of them who default to pay will now compound the problem for us finances.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers, John Ewa, said that banks must work together and collaborate on different levels to ensure financial inclusion.
If we work together, cooperate and coordinate our efforts, that is when we are better able to bring along our actors, other market participants in this financial inclusion agenda, and particularly improving financial awareness and literacy is of prime importance to banks.
A series of events have been lined up by the University of Ghana Business School with participation of industry players to observe the Financial Literacy and Awareness Month. Nicholas Brown's report for Joy Business. We have more business news coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. The news continues after this break.
With us, time to bring you sports. My name is Hans Mensah, and the Ghana Football Association has decided to postpone the admission of spectators to match venues following further consultative meetings with the National COVID-19 Task Force. The decision is based on measures being put in place to combat the COVID-19 pandemic during the Easter celebration and taking into consideration the continued efforts of government to avoid a third wave of the virus. The GFA shall, in the coming days, develop and test further protocols to safely admit fans into the stadium. The GFA will again develop an entry and exit protocol in addition to the existing approved match day COVID-19 protocols, including the introduction of advanced ticketing to avoid overcrowding at entry points. The GFA shall continue to work closely with the government, COVID-19 task force and all other related agencies to ensure a safer return of spectators to the various match venues. And clubs are, of course, being reminded to adhere to this directive, of course, also from government and the Ghana Football Association. Now, South Africa, they have sacked their head coach, Molefi in Turkey, after failing to qualify for AFCON 2021. And the South African Football Association announced yesterday that the coach had been relieved of his duties. This follows Sunday's 2-0 defeat to Sudan in Omdurman that saw Bafana fail to qualify for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations, when a draw would have seen the South Africans reach the tournament finals in Cameroon. Bafana hit by some withdrawals due to the FIFA circular saying clubs did not have to release players over COVID-19, had also failed to beat an even more understrength Ghana at the FNB Stadium on Thursday.